The Fifth Symphony is remarkable in lots of ways. Obviously, the most important thing is the way he developed this little motive. Think about the audience hearing these notes, just played by the clarinets and the strings. And he takes these notes and he develops them throughout the whole movement. And in fact, with the exception of the second movement, that little motive is played in every movement. Something unusual for the time. When you're listening to the symphony, you don't really realize that that motive is going on all the time. You don't even know where it comes from some of the time. And in a way, I guess you're not supposed to. You're just supposed to hear it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this sounds familiar. This is recognizable. It somewhat holds together. But I thought I'd show you a little bit of what he does. Okay, so he takes this symphony, and he starts it. In a sense, it's a wild energy because it's so much activity. There's these little moving notes constantly. There's no introduction. He just jumps right in. So you're in, and you hear this motive, which is in a sense, of course, the first theme. And he, even though it's what we call the exposition, the first section of the piece, he develops it somewhat until the horns come in to introduce the second theme. So they play. So obviously it's the same, 3 short and a long, but instead of, it goes. So he expands the interval from to, and then he writes the second theme. All within the framework of what the horns have just done. Just those notes. But while he's doing, you hear in the bass the same rhythm as the opening. If I didn't point it out to you, you wouldn't notice it. But if you listen to it, you'll see that you'll hear that cello and bass playing that motive underneath that second theme, which of course is a contrasting theme. Then Beethoven comes back, develops the initial motive again, and then we repeat the whole section. So this whole exposition, or first section, is repeated. And the next section in typical symphonic form is called the development section.